फीमेल एक्शन पिक्चरें नहीं चलती एंड हम लाइक कितनी बनाते हैं हम
बिल्कुल हाँ.
you know और उनके बजट क्या होते हैं are they even comparable to the male action film budgets over there so
Not at
how
all.
are we comparing the two let's
Yeah.
not I don't have access to certain rooms and I don't get offered certain films would I be good in them or not is a different story because often actresses are told कि तुम यही कर सकते हो या तो तुम एक्टिंग करो या तो तुम सुंदर दिखो और एक करियर में दोनों तो पॉसिबल नहीं है एंड आई एम लाइक क्यों पॉसिबल नहीं है बिकॉज वी आर केपेबल ऑफ बोथ
Hi, I'm Swati Chopra, and on today's episode of Tell Me All, I'm joined by Huma Qureshi. We talk films, childhood, family, and about the stories she wants to tell. Hi, Huma. Welcome to the Quint.
Hi.
I know I'm so excited to have having this conversation with you because usually you're someone who always talks from the heart. So I'm very excited to be doing this. And this
I hope to not live up to that introduction now.
No, don't do that. Huma, you've of course been a part of the industry for now, what, about close to 13, 14 years? You worked in ads, you've done films, OTT, you now have your own production house, right? When you look at your journey from the time you started off, what are some things that you feel have shifted in you as a person being a part of this industry?
Wow. You start with the easy ones. Huh? What are some things that have shifted? I don't know. Everything actually. I'm not the same person anymore.
Yeah.
I think I'm a much different person, much calmer, much stronger, much clearer, hopefully more authentic. I think when I started, I was a bit more nervous, bit more green, bit more unsure.
Yeah.
I also feel like there were not enough role models that I had that I could look up to and be like, okay, it's fine to be not conventional. It's fine to be the oddball. It's fine to think differently. It's fine to be more interested in books. You know, these are all cool things. I didn't think I was a cool girl. I think when I mean, now I've been told, I'm like, yeah, yes. Like I always wanted to be one. But no, I never thought I was a cool girl because I didn't do things or want to do things that were considered like cool or popular. But I think over time I've figured out my own self and things that I enjoy, I guess, I just enjoy them more openly now.
You may not have had a role model back then, but you certainly have become one for many who are starting off.
Thank you.
I'm sure these are conversations and things that you've heard.
I do get that, and I don't know, I feel very of course, very flattered, and I also feel very scared because I'm like, don't follow me. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it as I go along. But I think that's the idea, right? I don't think we are all meant to have all the answers. I don't think we're always meant to know exactly how this is going to end.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll make a few mistakes and I'll fall flat on my face, but that's completely all right. I think we just put so much pressure of perfectionism on us that every single thing we have to land correctly, and I think that's fine.
This is something that when you look at your journey, is there something about the industry that still surprises you? Oh God, you tab bhi ho raha tha,
how taken in by success they are. I feel like sometimes I look back and I feel like the only thing that really matters is how successful you are. It doesn't matter if you're a good person, not a good person. But I guess not just the industry, it's true for
everywhere.
It's everywhere, right? Like you could be like a horrible person and everyone will be saying like, oh my God, that person is such a pain, but they still work with you because you're successful.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just a question of that, which I find very shallow.
Yeah.
I find that a shallow trait in human beings.
We're going to talk so much more about all of that, but I'd like to rewind a little bit and take you back, say, to your Delhi days, to your childhood.
Wow.
Tell me, what was that like? What kind of a child were you? What was childhood like for you?
Naughty, bratty, foodie, bit of a nerdy borderline. I think I was never into going out much. I was just very happy to read my book and be at home. I was popular, but I was popular for odd things. I don't know how to put it.
What odd things, as in?
I don't know, book clubs and things.
Nice, no?
Right? I think so.
I think it's amazing.
Whether it was your newsletter or doing dramatics or doing debating, I wanted to do everything. So I think I was one of those kids who just wanted to really live life to the fullest.
I know what you mean. Popular, but not popular for
the right things. I was not the hot girl that everybody wanted to date. No, I was popular for other reasons.
Good. I think that's much better. Works in the long run.
Would have not also been nice to be the hot girl.
I think that also you've achieved. No?
Now, later. Pata nahi, I don't know. I don't feel like that. Huh?
You studied history, right? So when did this to the fact that you wanted to become an actor? When did that really take shape?
College, I think, started doing Ramsock, and I think that's when the bug really bit. Started doing a lot of plays, whether as an actor, I was also like Ramsock president, of course. So I started directing plays as well, and I think that sort of it was like, okay, this is something I really enjoy doing. And there's something about like doing live shows.
Yeah.
And it's something also about being in female all-girls college. Like Gargi, I feel like although at that point I really resented it. I wanted to go to like a co-ed college, and I was very upset with my parents for not allowing me to go to a co-ed. Although I went to a co-ed school, so I was a bit like, what is this rubbish? But I didn't get the marks in 12th because I was too busy doing extracurriculars. So as punishment, they were like, just go to a good college, girls' college, अच्छा college है, घर के पास है. In hindsight, it was the best decision I think I ever made. Because I think being in an all-girls institution at that age that I was, it really helped me blossom as a person. And I think I became just more sure of myself.
And your parents were like, all good that you want to come to Bombay and become an actor? Or was there any form
mad?
of resistance?
Are you mad? Which sane parent would allow their child to come to this crazy town? No, jokes aside, I feel like they had the usual reservation that any parent would have, should have. It is a hard business. I think they were like, of course, always concerned about my safety, my security. I think as parents, you always feel like you should be able to help your child in case they call you. And they didn't know anyone in Bombay, let alone the film business. So they were like, what are we going to even if we wanted to help you, we wouldn't know what to do. And I think coming from like a middle class home, like the film business is so like out of league. Like it's not for people like us was the constant thing. And I think the other thing also was because I was a head girl, this, that, and the other. They were very disappointed in me. They thought she'll do something worthwhile with her life. What is this acting? You want to run around trees? So they were extremely disappointed, and they really tried to talk me into either doing an MBA or studying abroad or doing something worthwhile with my life. I was like, okay, let me give this one shot. And my father, in a very filmy fashion, gave me 1 year. Saying, okay, try this for a year. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, I want you to come back because no child of mine will be an eternal struggler. Was his only fear. Like do something
I get that.
I get that completely. And I think it was a good sort of a benchmark to have or like almost like a challenge to have because I'm like, okay, now I've got a year, I've got to figure this out.
So tough to figure this industry out.
I mean, honestly, I think when I look back, I think it was just a father's way of saying, 1 year, take a gap year, do your thing, and then like it's sort of hit home, then come back and do something normal. But I was just lucky. I came to Mumbai and I met some amazing people. I started going for auditions and I landed my first gig, which was a TVC. And I did multiple TVCs in that year. And suddenly, when parents are watching IPL and suddenly you pop in an ad,
how exciting.
That's like, oh, she's doing something. Something is happening. And I was also fortunate because a bunch of my early commercials, although I was just a model, but a bunch of those ads ended up being with a lot of like big stars at that point in time. So that was also a big validation. Ki, Arey, Abhishek Bachchan ke saath ad kiya hai. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so suddenly you're just like, suddenly for parents, like or my school friends or college friends, I would just get like every week get excited because that was you, right? That was you. And I was like, yeah, that was me.
But do you remember what those early weeks in Bombay were like for you?
A lot of alone time because I didn't know too many people. A lot of like walking from one place to the other. I mean, of course, also to save money, but also to like, I didn't know what to do if I reached home early. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. So I would just like walk from one place to the other. Deciding for yourself, I think what is for you, but also deciding most importantly what's not for you. I think that's the important thing. So it was that. Lots of reading. I actually read a lot. Lots of journaling. The other day I was cleaning my cupboard and I came across all these old journals that I have. Literally from back in the day. I had forgotten actually. I had this system. My thing for myself was, instead of just sitting at home and like doing nothing and wallowing and waiting for my phone to ring, my strategy was every day I'm going to meet 4 new people. From the movie
industry or
from the movie business. It doesn't matter. They don't have to be someone big or like a studio head or something. No, it just has to be somebody from the business. Even if it's a DOP or if it's a production designer or it's a costume person, just to meet new people and be like, and just to get to know them. Like this is what you do. Because I also feel like I had no film training. I didn't grow up on a film set. I didn't have access in that sense. I didn't know what it was to be on a movie set or who were the people who actually even make a movie. You know, director होता है, producer होता है, actor होता है.
और क्या?
इतना ही पता था. मतलब और क्या होता है? तो कुछ idea ही नहीं था. So also like when I started meeting and making friends, and I was genuinely like, I went with almost like a journalistic mind, like trying to understand what is it that you do and asking silly questions and you know, and I think that was a very important part of my self-education. I think it just also made me feel a little like less scared of this place.
Did the fear ever hit you of coming to this overwhelming industry where you knew nobody? Or you were like, okay, listen, I'm going to figure it out. I have a year.
I think for me at that point in time, the regret of not even trying it was far more scarier. Because I was very scared. I was very overwhelmed and I didn't know how I was going to do it. I don't have a single clue.
Yeah.
But then for me, I was also like, if I don't do it now, I will always regret this.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I took that leap of faith.
If I had to take you back to the sets of the ads that you shot initially when you came, what is it that you remember about those shoots, your first day on sets or anything from those ads? What comes to your mind?
I remember the first person I ever met was this lady called Veera Kapoor E, who's a costume designer.
Okay.
And this was an ad my first ad I was shooting with Amit Sharma for Idea Mobile.
Oh, okay.
When Abhishek Bachchan was the brand ambassador. And I remember we were shooting in Whistling Woods and I was very excited. I had never seen a vanity van what it looked like. So I was like, this is for me. Of course, you remember meeting the big actors and the stars. But I also feel like just now I feel a sense of being from here and being familiar with people. It feels like home. It doesn't feel like an alien place anymore.
And was there ever this sense of being starstruck on any of the sets ever?
So many times. Most starstruck I was with Mr. Amitabh Bachchan.
Yeah.
I'm very starstruck. Of course, huge fan, massive fan. And I still remember the first day I met him was at the screening of D-Day. Oh. And Nikhil Advani had invited him to come watch the film. And of course, I was very nervous. I was like, Mr. Bachchan is here to watch my film. I was still going through that phase. And it's so silly now when I think of it, like, because he's come to see my film. So, of course, he would know
who you are.
Who am I? Or, like, I'm part of this film. I was still coming from that big imposter syndrome thing. But he's Amitabh Bachchan. Like, why will he know who I am? I should, like, you know, maybe. And then I remember introducing myself to him very, very politely, saying, sir, I'm an actor. And of course, him being the magnanimous self that he is, he said very, very nicely, like, of course I know who you are, and you know, like, I'm such a fan, or something to that effect he said, which was very, very gracious of him. I was just bouncing with joy, and I've come back, and then we became Twitter friends, and I was telling my brother, saying, talk to me with respect, Mr. Bachchan follows me on Twitter. So for a week my head was in the clouds, but I mean it's beautiful, right? Like when you look back at all these small memories,
and those are the memories that actually motivate you to go further. I feel like these are moments that make you feel like I know we keep saying that validation needs to be more internal than external, especially in today's world, but I think to have this kind of an external validation is a big
I think so. I think it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both, and these are just like representations of things.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your films. You started off with Gangs of Wasseypur. When you were doing that, did you even for a second feel, ye hoga, like this is my breakthrough, this is going to change things for me?
Not at all.
Really?
No, because it was honestly...
The role was so solid.
On paper, it was a film that shouldn't have succeeded. You know what I mean? Like, it was this indie film, 2-part film with some 200 actors, none of which are famous, barring Mr. Manoj Bajpayee. Like, everybody was new. Because after the film, everyone sort of popped.
A lot of people.
Like, and ADs and everybody's like, it's one of those like films that have really started another little mini industry. But having said that, I feel like it wasn't supposed to be on paper like this big launch or this big film that's supposed to catapult into stardom or whatever. But when I do look back, I felt the fact that it was my first film. It went to Cannes. That itself was special. I don't think I understood at that point in time how special it was. Because I'm like, हाँ हमने पिक्चर करी वो कैन चली जाती होंगी ऐसा होता नहीं है, you know, it's not that simple.
It's very difficult.
It's very difficult. And then now I know when people are like, you know, sometimes I'll get messages from people saying, madam, we have a script, it will go to Oscars and Cannes. I was like, आपको कैसे पता? हमें आज तक समझ नहीं आया कैसे जाने वाली है. But so I get very amused by some of these. But no, at that point, we didn't know it was going to be so special and spectacular. I remember I was getting nominated for Filmfare and Also IFA Best Actress, and I'm like, huh, really? Like, I was in a bit of this very special haze almost. I didn't plan for any of this.
Of course.
I thought I'll do a movie, and at best, I had a 20-minute part in that film. It was a very, very small part. You cannot predict the impact that a role like that would have. And I remember this one time, the first time both the parts were screened together at the Ocean Festival in New Delhi at Siri Fort. Literally stone throw away from my college and from my house.
Yeah.
And I remember my parents were there, my brother was there, they all had come to watch the film.
nice.
I was seeing it together for the first time in India. And someone randomly from the audience says, Huma, marry me. And I was like, what? Like, are you serious? Like, I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to have fans.
Yeah.
You know, that was my first,
First
whoever
fan
that
moment.
was, you were amazing. You really... I never got to see your face, but it really meant so much. That guy was my first fan, and he proclaimed his love for me, and I love him for it.
Shit, you didn't even get to meet him.
No.
Okay, maybe through this one, if you're listening. Everyone I speak to who's been a part of Gangs of Wasseypur has such fond memories. And I think it also kind of reinstates the fact that you're saying it started so many careers. I mean, the opportunities that it got for most people, and they're all so successful today.
I feel like, which is why we need more films like that. We need newer voices to emerge. We need like more people to be, I don't know, making those kind of movies, studios to be greenlighting those kind of movies. And because sometimes, of course, the film made money and it was a success, all of that. But sometimes what it also does later, is also equally important. You know?
I guess that's why now we have a producer like you who's going to tell stories like these.
Yes.
But we are going to talk a lot about you and the production house and the film that just went to TIFF. When you look back, is there a role that kind of comes to your mind that you feel you felt a shift in you as a person? Because sometimes I feel like when I watch a movie or a show, I learn something from a character, the way it's
100%.
said, or and sometimes it also takes away from you.
No, what you're saying is very true, actually. Sometimes I play a character, something changes in me. Every single time I play a role, it changes me in some way or the other because you feel it. I feel the role that really changed me, changed how I saw myself, was Leila. Because for the first time, I believed I could carry a film or a show on my shoulders. And a show that, or a film that changed it for the business or people was Maharani.
Maharani was like, it really, I think when it was coming up, people were like, oh yeah, of course it's going to be great because it had your name attached to it.
Really? Who are these people?
No, I'm telling you, there is this conversation about a few actors in the industry, and when their name is attached to a film, to a series, to anything, there's just so much expectations, and you're thinking, you're one of them.
Thank
you. When your name is attached to something, people know that it'll be of substance.
Oh, thank you. That really means a lot. But no, when we did Maharani, we didn't expect it to be so big.
Really?
And nobody did. And I still remember the day season 1 released.
Yeah.
There were some reviews. They were quite mixed. Some of them were quite scathing. And I remember all of us in the team we were very, very depressed because we were like, because it's a new show, it's not, nothing's come out. And, like the first few reviews are all, only thing that you want to read and you want to be like, and they were not so flattering. And we were like, the screenplay is weak.
Yeah.
Not so good things about me, all of that. So we were very low, ki acha, koi baat nahi, matlab, phir se try karenge. We were thinking maybe it didn't translate. And this was Thursday night, Friday, the show had released.
Yeah.
And then the weekend started, people started watching it, whatever. I still remember, it was Sunday afternoon. I was in my room and Saqib barged into my room. And he was like, how's the show doing? A few calls started coming to me.
Yeah.
Like, people you don't expect, just randomly messaging you, calling you, saying, you're so good in the show. So I was like, Meko to acha hi bol rahe hain. What have you heard? He's like, I've got some 12 calls from people who you don't know, saying, can you please either give us her number or just express to her how much we loved her in the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? And by Monday, it was like a tsunami. And then we didn't know what was happening. And I still feel today a lot of the so-called, some of the critics, which I want to actually one day print published somewhere. They don't say it for whatever reason, but it's such a loved show.
It is.
Unanimously, it's given me everything, and I feel like the love each year just keeps growing and growing and growing, and whether it's like people in the political arena or journalists or common people, like there's so much love that Maharani gets every single year.
Like you said, right? The initial reviews were scathing, and it kind of brings a person down, right?
And you're just like, अच्छा कोई बात नहीं, and like हम लोग सारे ऐसे कि अच्छा ठीक है, मतलब से try करेंगे, हो गया होगा, maybe maybe what people think. Sometimes it's art, right? What you're thinking, it doesn't translate, so you have to really go back and be like, okay, let's work harder, let's realign. And
but do you really believe that reviews make a difference?
No, I don't think so. I think because it's an opinion.
Yeah.
And a lot of personal biases are there in opinions, and a lot of different reasons are there. I also do believe there's certain kind of gatekeeping that happens, in that, and so I don't take it very seriously. Not anymore. At one point I did, but not anymore.
Has it ever affected you in a way, like questioning yourself, or is it just like, okay, it's just a weekend, let this pass, on to the next?
No, I always question myself. I'm not arrogant enough to think that everything I do will be amazing. No, I think I'm also capable of making mistakes. I'm also capable of like picking wrong projects. I can only tell you my intention.
Yes. Yeah.
I can only go with, okay, my intention was to do this.
Yeah.
And you can tell me as an audience, and that is your right. Ki, okay, your intention, what you thought you were doing, it landed or it didn't land.
Sure.
Because what I'm doing, I'm an artist, but my art is in service of the viewer.
Yeah.
So I have to be cognizant of that. I can't be like, हाँ मैं तो बहुत ही amazing artist हूँ. तो मतलब अपने घर पे करो ना फिर acting. मतलब why are you troubling us? I'm neither narcissist enough to think that everything I'm doing is correct, nor am I, I don't know, scared or unsure enough of myself that every opinion matters to me. For me, everything, I'm always constantly thinking about, like every film that I do, every show that I do, every performance that I do, I'm trying to constantly grow as a person. I'm trying to understand, okay, for example, if I do a show like Delhi Crime, I know, why I'm doing it. Like I'm not looking at, looking like a beauty queen or whatever. In fact, I'm going to dress down. I'm going to try and look the part. I'm going to try. I'm doing a Bayaan for that matter.
Yeah.
It has to be really granular and authentic, and it has to be an experience. But when I'm doing a beautiful song, I'm supposed to look like the most beautiful girl in the world. And as a woman, I can be both.
Yeah.
Because often actresses are told कि तुम यही कर सकते हो, या तो तुम acting करो या तो तुम सुंदर दिखो, और एक career में दोनों तो possible नहीं है. And I'm like, क्यों possible नहीं है? Because we are capable of both.
I think, Uma, what you just said, that, as an actor, I'm capable of being both, looking extremely glamorous one day and dressing down one day and playing the part, like, say, in Delhi Crime, right? But when you started off and you decided, okay, I want to do both, that time the industry wasn't as open to it, right? They were like,
they're still not very open to it.
Yeah,
तुम्हें करना क्या है, please हमको बता दो. तुम decide करो तुमको करना क्या है. I was doing promotions for this film I did called Tarla, and I had just done Monica, My Darling before that, just released.
I love that, by the way.
Thank you. Very different films, and I remember getting a call. We were doing an interview with Mr. Veer Sanghvi. And he was like, of course he loved Tarla, but he's like, but why would you do this film? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, but you're such a good looking woman. I remember this conversation, and we both had a good laugh, and he's wonderful.
Yeah.
He was like, but most actresses would do this when they're making a comeback. But you're very much in the prime of your life and doing all of this. I'm like, exactly for this point, like I don't want to, like, just because I'm not that age right now, why do I have to think twice about playing a character older than myself? Why should that even be a consideration? I like the script, I want to do this film, and I want to do it now.
And I can do both.
And as a woman, I'm not a fruit, na, jo basi ho jayega. Like I shouldn't be afraid of getting rotten or whatever. I'm supposed to think of myself like wine. I get better with age.
Yeah. I remember, I think you'd also said there's some casting directors that called you and said that, why are you doing roles older than your age? I don't understand. When you look at male actors, they also do older, younger, old, both. Dono karte na, ki why a woman has to be slotted, like
why?
You can't do it.
Guess karo why? Because it is a man's world.
I know what you mean. I think we've had multiple conversations.
And it is all the more our responsibility to reject it. Saying, please, this is 2025. I do not believe in this. If we think of ourselves as educated, empowered, working women, who have a bit of agency, then why are we like getting scared of that? Then we have to be like, no, I'm going to do me. And actually it's not that difficult.
I was just going to ask you, but is it difficult to go against the grain?
initially people go like whatever, but once they realize ये ऐसे ही है, तो then they give up on you. They're like करने दो उसको. And but the only trick is only one thing: just be good at it.
Which you are.
I try.
But because a lot of actors that I speak with, I'm talking about female actors that I speak with, they share a similar opinion, you know, and they're like, even if you want to try something different, the worry is then people start viewing us differently.
Correct.
You know, or then when you see a younger female actor being cast as an actor's mom, you know, then there are conversations that, why did you cast her? Then I'm like, 1 second. In one breath, we say that women should be allowed to do both. And then why are we questioning another person's choice?
No, the difference
too, right?
is the difference is actually what the difference is in the lensing of it. For example, I would play an older character, but I'll play an older character in my film.
It's how you're shown.
It's also about agency. It's also
Yeah.
about like how I want to be represented. I'm not going to do something in your film. Would you come and do it in my film? If I made you my father in my movie, or my grandfather actually in a movie, would one of the no, they wouldn't do it. So why should I do it? But in my own film, I can do whatever I want. It's my movie. I'll age myself. I'll de-age myself. I'll do whatever I want to do.
All your roles, I feel, really, they've always had agency. I mean, do you look back at any character and say, "Hey, ये मैंने क्यों किया?" मेरे को नहीं लगता है.
No, because even the mistakes are I take something away from.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done some bad performances also, but I'm proud
Not
of them.
performance, a role. I'm talking about like specifically a role and what that role stood for.
That's okay. Like, I mean, no, not really.
That's what I'm saying. Because if you look at
If
your
I'm being really
filmography,
honest, yeah.
I mean, and I'm asking this question because I can't pick a single role and say like this character didn't have agency. I mean, it's okay for a character to not have agency, but at the end of the film or the series, is it being said? She's finding it. She's got it. Even though it starts off differently.
Thanks, someone noticed. But then, yeah, I don't know. It's not a choice. It's not I sit and be like, okay, there is some test.
But it's you.
I think it's just instinctive. It's
Yeah.
just instinctive. I'm not so smart or calculating. It's just instinct.
You may not be calculating, but you're like, you know what you need to do, what you want to do.
It's an instinct. Generally,
Yeah.
I'm saying if you ask me to break it down, like I wouldn't be able to like now. Actually, I am saying it far more like an eloquent way to you. But if like somebody would ask me why you said yes to this role and not that one, I may not have the words always, but I'm like ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है अभी कि ऐसा करना चाहिए. पता नहीं क्यों, but ऐसे कुछ feeling आ रही है.
Yeah.
Like Bayaan, like it was a feeling. There was no reason. It is not that they had so much money. It is not that there was a big studio or some Hollywood like big a production house supporting it. Like, you know, it was just a small indie film. This lovely director and producer attached to it, Vikas and Shiraditya. They came to me. They pitched it to me as an actor. I loved the script. I thought it had great potential. I knew the only way it would get made if I got attached to it as EP. Because we didn't have the money to, you know, to pay me what my regular price was. And I thought, okay, should I let go of it because they don't have the money to pay me? Or do I really like it enough to be like, okay, let's structure this in a way. Let me get on, that we can make this happen. Because potentially it could be really huge.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm so happy that belief in it sort of paid off.
So, okay, right now, like you're at a position, or I think in the last few years, you've been at a position where you can say yes and no. But initially, when you were getting roles that say you didn't resonate with, or your gut said no, how challenging is that then to say, okay, I'm going to let go of something that probably I need to do, but I don't want to do?
It's tough. It's really tough. But I think you have to be okay with saying no. And you have to be okay with waiting. I waited a lot. There was time I didn't have a lot of work or a lot of opportunities, or at least not the kind of opportunities I wanted to do.
Was it a long wait?
Yeah, like I remember once I was offered a third lead in a film. And I said no. You know, I didn't want to offend the filmmaker, but I was like, listen, I really want to work with you, but I don't know, I don't think this is for me right now. And I try and be as like honest and as polite as I can, because I feel anybody's offering you something is only respect. They're giving you respect. You may not feel aligned with it, and you can also, but you can respond with respect. And this person turned around and said, why? Kuch kar rahi hai kya? And I was like, no, actually, I don't have a film. I'm actually not doing much, but I don't want to do this right now. Of course, it hurts.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit of an ego blow in that moment. But then the only thing you can do is go like, okay, I'm going to work harder now. And whatever that is, and I'm going to knock on more doors, and maybe I'll, you know, like 10 doors I'll knock at, and maybe 9 will say no. But I just need that one door to respond with a yes, and
Yeah.
that's the only thing you can tell yourself.
So let's talk about your production house, right? Started with your brother. What is that working relation like, apart from just being a brother, but also like a partner in a business?
Tough, very rewarding.
Nice.
But I feel he's the glue that really keeps all of this together. He's extremely sorted. Saqib is just somebody who's so passionate and so driven and so. He's like a nice guy. Like I still have that backbencher quality in me, but he's that front bencher guy. Like he'll just do everything एकदम कायदे से. And I feel like, this company, whether it's been Baby Do I Do or the other things that we're developing, he just keeps it all together. He keeps it all real. He often checks me when I get into a bit of a zone or I'm not thinking straight, and I feel like I wouldn't have been able to do this without him. Completely enjoy our friendship, our love, our bond for each other. Of course, there are difficult days. We fight a lot, we argue a lot, we want to move in different directions. But I think at the core of it, our reasons for doing this are the same.
And what are the kind of stories, like what is a gap that you see in the industry that you say, these are the kind of stories I want to tell?
I feel like we want to make commercial films, but we want to also make accessible films. And we also want to make interesting films and yet accessible films. You'll make a great film, but I feel like it's not something that I'll be able to explain to my mother. But at the same time, I want to make films that are for everyone, which do box office, but at the same time have good content. And I do feel that they're not mutually exclusive. I feel the Hindi film business, the Hindi film business is going through a bit of a flux where we don't know like what people want to watch. We have these ideas of what works, the formula-driven films, and I don't think I'm capable of it. I'm sure people who do this are like amazing. I don't think I'm capable of doing it. Also because of the career I've had, the trajectory I've had. I want to tell interesting films and stories, but I want to make them for a larger cross-section of people. I think that's what I'm really like passionate about right now. So I just also make more films for like younger people, edgier stories. Cooler concepts. Is there another way of telling the same story?
Is there a kind of story that you would never tell? No matter, even if it's say somebody said, okay, this
anything
can be commercially very
that is
successful.
reeking of hatred. I don't think I'll ever be capable of doing that. I feel like films for me are a beautiful way of self-expression. They're also a beautiful way of uniting people and giving them something positive to take back home. But anything that will leave you with hatred in your heart or animosity
for anybody or
for yourself, for anybody or anything, I don't think I can do that. I feel like it's a very ugly thing to leave out in the world.
Let's talk about TIFF. Okay, I'm so excited about Bayaan. I really want to watch it. When can we watch it?
Soon. Very soon. I'm going to keep a screening. I'll call you.
Okay, yes, please do. Tell me about that. When you're telling a story that is kind of inspired from what we see around us, then you, of course, go ahead and take a little bit of a creative liberty to also say it in a way that is somewhere maybe fictionalized. I'm not too sure about that, right? So how do you kind of draw a balance saying, okay, this is a story I want to tell because it's happening, but hey, I also need to draw a balance and keep it slightly fictionalized. Yes.
I'll tell you one reason why I did the films and why I resonated with that film. Two reasons. Number one, it was not a film which was about like, it was a very global, it was a very local story, but with a very global outlook. It was a very India-specific story set in this small town, but meant always with a global lens and for a global audience. But very importantly, it wasn't about poverty porn. And I feel like that's something I don't want to ever like, sure, we are a country of a lot of problems and issues and divisions.
Like most countries.
Like most countries, but we are not selling that. That's not what you're marketing to the world. I'm very India proud and I feel like I want to tell stories about our problems, but the solutions also come from within our communities as well.
Yes.
And which is why, because of the choice of this female cop who's a woman, and here is this issue with this sort of leader who is, abusing these women, the solution also comes from within the community. So that was number one. The second most important reason was, whether it's the Me Too movement or whatever, there's this whole chatter about like, why do the victims don't speak up? And this is what I found to be so beautiful, whether it was in TIFF in Toronto or at the Busan Film Festival, and people saw the film, everybody resonated with that because the nuances can change, but the basic understanding that it's not so simple to speak up all the time.
It's not.
Because of cultural reasons, whatever reasons.
Or the fact that victim always has the burden of proof.
Correct.
I think that's horrible.
And the whole film is about Bayaan. There has been this abuse.
Burden of proof.
Of women, and this female cop goes to this village, but nobody is willing to give testimony because of various reasons. And this whole thing is about getting that one testimony. In fact, there were a lot of people who left the theatre with moist-eyed or just getting very like shook by it. And I said, it could be any country.
Yeah.
It could be anywhere in the world, but the burden of proof always lies with the victim. At the same time, it's not so easy to speak up. So when you say speak up and do something about it, the truth is not so simple.
Let's have a little bit of an industry talk. I'm going to read a quote from one of your interviews.
My interviews, oh
Yeah.
God, have I reached that
Of course.
place where my interviews have been quoted to me? Death.
You really thought you haven't reached that? I think
Not
you should do an
yet.
interview. You should just chat with me once a month.
Oh dear.
I'll tell you what's going on.
Oh dear. Huh.
You are somebody who's always speaking about equal pay for equal work, right? You said that
Shouldn't
after
have to, no?
exactly, and it's so
Shouldn't have
sad
to.
that even in 2025 we're still
Yeah.
fighting for it. You know,
Yeah.
you said that even after the success of Maharani, nothing changed. You know, though it should have. Do you think that there is any chance that this conversation about having to fight for equal pay, have you ever for one gone ahead and pushed back on a negotiation saying, hey, listen, I deserve it?
Many times. Sometimes it's happened. Sometimes they've just not. It's
Yeah.
not translated.
Yeah.
I feel today I want to talk about the fact that, yeah, sure, it's unfair, but stop asking the women these questions. It's very boring for me to either hear my own interview or another female colleagues to be like, क्या लगता है आपको?
Yeah.
तो वो तो बोलेंगे हाँ लगता है हमको. I
Yeah.
feel must ask these questions to the male actor.
I do
Must
actually.
ask these questions to the producers on those films.
Yeah.
Those are the people, who are the decision makers, and then hold them accountable for it. I don't
Yeah.
know. Why are you asking the women? Ask the people who are actually making the checks, the executives, the studio heads, all of those people.
Yeah.
Ki, why have you done this?
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
huge. It's
yeah, and
really
hold them
sad.
accountable. Yeah.
Yeah.
हम तो बोलेंगे हमें तो equal pay
पर
नहीं मिल रहा
सही
है.
बोल रहे हैं.
हाँ.
वो तो सब बोल रहे हैं. You know, some
Correct.
people are voicing it out and some people are saying it behind closed doors, but everyone's talking about it. This is a conversation that doesn't die down because unfortunately people, like you said, who should be held responsible are doing nothing.
Hence, it is a job of the journalistic community, the media, the podcasters, everybody,
Yeah.
to ask them those questions. Not the women. The women shouldn't have to answer for it.
But you've not noticed any shift also since you started off back then? Have you noticed a shift?
No,
though?
there has been a notice of shift. I mean,
Nice.
also I am the lead on Maharani.
Yeah.
I'm the lead on many other films and shows that I do, and I do get paid more than the rest of the cast, male or
Yeah.
female. But I
Nice.
feel like, for example, there's a certain conversation piece. अरे जैसे for example, female action picture नहीं चलती, and I'm like कितनी बनाते हैं हम?
बिल्कुल. हाँ.
You know, और उनके budget क्या होते हैं? Are they even comparable to the male action film budgets over there? So
No.
how are we comparing the two? Let's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
You know, let's
Agree.
make it a fair argument. If it's like two people have to at least start from the same starting line now.
Huh.
For you to comment on where they're finishing.
बिल्कुल.
You know, the starting lines are so off. So how can you compare the finishing line?
It's actually very far.
Yeah.
And it's too blurred.
It's too blurred.
You can't see it. You can't
Yeah.
see the other line actually.
Not at all. You're just like, acha, haan.
What are the differences that you notice on sets today? Something that you've really welcomed with, saying, wow, I'm so glad these shifts have happened in our industry. And some that you wish, we can still kind of work on.
I feel women today speak up far more, which is amazing. And I feel that's a good, healthy trend, and that should keep continuing and that should keep going on. I feel like I definitely changed. I think when I started working, I was a bit more unsure and nervous about voicing my opinion. Today, I feel a lot more at ease about voicing my opinion and putting my foot down if I don't think something is being correct, or
Nice.
putting some attention onto a thing. Earlier, I would be like, okay, let's just get out of here. I don't know. Can I say this? Can I? I didn't feel like I was...
You had a voice.
I had a voice.
I want to close this interview with a quote from someone's interview. Yes, she's reached there. Okay, you said there's always been a gatekeeping of sorts, which you also kind of touched upon in this interview a little earlier. You said my journey as a woman and outsider in the business is not very easy. Until there are rooms I don't have access to. Do you recall a specific scenario when you felt this? Even if you don't want to kind of put a name to a film or a producer, but do you remember when this actually happened and you felt, okay, there's gatekeeping?
Many times. But again, I don't want to name a particular
Exactly, please
person,
don't, yeah.
event. And also not important, but I do feel again, you've studied my filmography. So you also know the filmography. It also includes a lot of first time people or mostly independent makers or all of that. I've not worked with some of the so-called biggies in the business or whatever. No regrets. I didn't come here to work with a particular person or a particular studio or whatever. I came to build my own something. But having said that, I don't have access to certain rooms and I don't get offered certain films. Would I be good in them or not is a different story, or for time to tell, or for the
Yeah.
audiences to judge, you know. But just to be not given that opportunity is proof enough, right? And I don't cry wolf about it. The fact that Salim
Yeah.
siblings or anything else that I'm doing is also because I'm not going to be punched down by the system. I'm going to make my own opportunities, and I'm going to do my own films, and I'm gonna do what I resonate with. Do I not see that, the lack of opportunity or the lack of being offered certain things? Of course,
Yeah.
I see that
Yeah.
all the time. But there's nothing I can do about it. I can't force somebody to be like, okay, give me that opportunity.
Huh.
No, but whatever gets offered to me, I try and do the best of it that I can do.
Yeah. And that you are. So thank you for your films. Thank you for your stories.
you.
And thank you for choosing films that and roles that you believe in, because I think that's what is lacking.
Thank you for watching them.
Yes, of course. You have lots of people out there watching them
Thank
and
you
really
so much.
rooting for you.
Thank you.
So here's to telling stories that you want to tell.
Thank you. I'm
Thank
gonna
you for
cry
talking
now.
to me. Ah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.